over the years, I've just come across a lot of these objections. And when you start to poke and prod at these objections, they start to fall apart. Yet, financial gurus across the board universally condemn cash value life insurance and annuities. And when you really start to pick apart their claims, there's just nothing to them. Ernst & Young recently came out with a study where they said, okay, let's compare 3 different strategies. The first strategy says, hey, stock market investing alone. That's what Susie Orman, Dave Ramsey, Clark Howard, Ramit Sethi, that's what they're all recommending. Then they said, let's compare stock market investing to stock market investing and cash value life insurance. And they said, what do you know? The person who includes cash value life insurance as a volatility buffer can actually take higher withdrawal rates from their stock market portfolio, and their money lasts longer. And they said, okay, let's try a third scenario. Let's try someone that uses stock market investing, cash value life insurance, and annuities to be able to draw lifetime income. And what do you know? The person that had cash value life insurance and annuities, actually their stock market retirement lasted longer. They took more income than those other 2 scenarios. So we now have the biggest CPA firm in the world who's telling us that the mathematically ideal way to spend down your money in retirement is to utilize cash value life insurance, annuities, and stock market investing. That's like that 3-legged stool, 1 + 1 + 1 = 10. When you incorporate all 3, you increase the likelihood that your money is going to last through life expectancy. And so there's math that undergirds all of these principles. And so I go through a lot of the math. I go through a lot of the academic studies and why experts in academia for 4 decades have been making the case that we should be using these types of things. And so for the longest time, I'm like, well, if PhD says this stuff that makes sense, if PhDs say that this stuff makes sense, and the guy that doesn't have any licensure at all, Dave Ramsey, says that it doesn't make sense and that you should cash it out in the very moment that you hear him tell you to do it, there's got to be, why is there such a vast abyss between what gurus are saying and what the PhDs are telling us? And so the goal of this book is to help bridge that gap. And that's sort of what inspired me to write this book, is there's such a huge yawning gap between what gurus say and what the math is telling us to do. And so I wanted to help our clients sort of understand how to bridge that gap. Let me just make one real quick observation about how that Ernst & Young study is telling us that we should be using cash value life insurance and retire. If you look at the little footnote in the study, and not a lot of people notice this, but I looked at the footnote and it says, we are using cash value life insurance as what's called a volatility buffer. What does that mean? That means that if you can build, say, 3 to 5 years worth of living expenses inside your IUL by day 1 of retirement, and then in the year following a down year in the stock market, pay for your living expenses out of your IUL. What does that do? It gives your stock market portfolio a chance to recover before you take further distributions. And that act alone will increase the sustainable withdrawal rate on your stock market portfolio from 4 to 8%. Let me put that into perspective for you. If you have $1 million, Susie Orman, Ken Fisher, everybody pretty much, but Dave Ramsey says you can only take out 4%. That means you got $1 million, you can take out 4% per year. That's $40,000 per year, adjusted every year thereafter for inflation. However, if you can, and by the way, to be able to take 80,000 out, you'd have to accumulate 2 million. However, if you have 3 to 5 years worth of living expenses in your IUL, you could now take 8% withdrawal rates on that $1 million. So instead of having to accumulate $2 million, now you only got to accumulate $1 million, and you can now take 8% distribution rates off of that portfolio. So this is huge. You can start to see why the Ernst & Young study made such a powerful case for using cash value life insurance. And so when Dave Ramsey says, Dave Ramsey, without even asking any questions as to why you have cash value life insurance, could be for a volatility buffer concept like we just discussed. He doesn't care because it doesn't fit his paradigm. It doesn't fit his nice little box, his worldview. And so he says, I don't care how they sold it to you. You should just stop throwing good money after bad and get rid of the whole thing and take the surrender charge no matter what. So this is the problem I have. I think Dave Ramsey's done a lot of good things. I really like Susie Orman, actually. I just think she's insanely wrong on life insurance and annuities. The goal eventually is to get the attention of these folks, because Dave Ramsey historically he's been absolutely unwilling to address his critics. I mean, he just doesn't care. He's like, I'm worth $1 billion. Those people aren't. Therefore, why should I care what they think? Well, they should care what they think, because the advice that he's giving people, and I call this the Dave Ramsey circle of poverty. Basically, he does a good job of getting people out of poverty. There's no doubt about it. I think that he's exerting a net positive impact on America. But what happens is he gets people out of poverty, and he gets them to the point where they have $1 million, and he promptly bankrupts them by telling them to take 8% withdrawal rates. And so now they're back to poverty again. So that's what I call the Dave Ramsey circle of poverty. I want to bring these types of things to their attention. I would love to debate Dave Ramsey someday. And hopefully the goal is to make this book a New York Times bestseller, because guess what? No one's ever written a book about Dave Ramsey criticizing his financial worldview. This is the first time it's ever happened. And if this can become a New York Times bestseller, I think he'll be forced to acknowledge all of the issues that mainstream financial planning community has with the types of things that he's telling Americans to do. So,
folks, my upcoming book, The Guru Gap: How America's Financial Gurus Are Leading You Astray and How to Get Back on Track, is now available for pre-order on Amazon. Take the opportunity to order your copy today. By the way, in the next 10 years, I'm looking to put 1 million Americans on the road to the 0% tax bracket. If you would like some help implementing a balanced, comprehensive approach to tax-free retirement that shields you from the impact of higher taxes down the road, head on over to davidmcknight.com and click on the Connect with an Advisor button. I'm happy to refer you to an advisor in the Power Zero network that's been trained, vetted, and qualified personally by me. If you're a financial professional and want to learn how to become a certified Power Zero advisor, head over to powerzero.com and opt into my free video series. And if you have any comments or questions, feel free to drop them into the comment section below. I'll respond to every single one of them personally. And don't forget to click like, subscribe, and the bell so you never miss a video. This is David McKnight. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.